they are. That's all I need to say.
Yeah, maybe.
Dun, 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 dun. Delicious beverage to start the program. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name's Dean. Here we are again. It's going to be a fun one today, quick one today, too, because everybody's busy and we're just trying to squeeze a day in. There's so much to talk about. We're never going to be able to get to it if we don't get to it today. Lachlan is out today. He is taking, I believe he's taking a carpet delivery. If I'm not mistaken, Lindz, is that correct? He's taking a carpet delivery. Is that
carpet or paint? Was paint last week and carpet today? I think. Yeah,
paint or carpet. Either way, Lachlan's not going to be here because he's having carpet and paint and wood delivered to his new home. Because I don't know if people know this, Lachlan's a bit of a slumlord. So every time he gets fired or hired at a radio station in and around Western Canada, they buy a house, keep the house rented out, and then they move to a new city, and then boom, and now he's got like 38 houses. He's basically the Jeff Bezos of slumlords now. So
he's who Polyev talks about when he says gatekeeper.
He's gatekeeper. Yeah, he's Lachlan's huge gatekeeper. Yeah, and I can't stand it, to be honest with you, because it's taking away from the free labor he gives us here on a daily basis.
It's kind of bullshit, really.
It's total bullshit. There he is trying to make his life better, and there's us just trying to do a show for free, and he's like, fuck you guys, I'm making my life better one day at a time by taking advantage of tax loopholes and ownership situations here, and I'm making people pay the freight for me because I'm a gatekeeper, and I want to talk about that with him. He is a gatekeeper. There's no question in my mind. Lachlan Cross is one of the gatekeepers that Pierre Polyev talks about all the time. Anyway, nice to have you here, Ryan Lindley, Sheeple Shepherd Podcast, also the host of the Lindz Report. You can get him at Ryan Lindley on Twitter. Give him a follow at our Ryan Lindley, EY. Lindley. I'm here. You know me. Always brought to you by our friends at Kivlaw.ca, defense lawyers that actually give a shit of whether or not you incriminate yourself, and if you're going through it, and they'll hold your hand through the whole thing. That's what they do. If you're looking for a great criminal defense lawyer, if you're in Southern Ontario, Robert at Kivlaw.ca, that's your cat.
And they don't do traffic tickets.
No, they don't do traffic tickets. Super not upset that Lachlan's not here to talk about that, but way to sneak it in. Really good. Anyway, they get you out of trouble. It's what they do. You're in a legal pinch. You need some trouble. Dude, Rob's the best. He's like one of the closest friends I have, and he's one of the great lawyers of our time. And what he does is he treats you like a human being. Doesn't matter what you've done. Doesn't matter where you're going. Guy. Absolutely. Kivlaw.ca if you're in it. Also, big thanks and hi to our friends at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible. If you're looking to finance a vehicle totally free of charge, easyautofinancial.ca. The only people in the business to do it. Canadian, too, which is what I like. Oh, my God, I'm losing my...
What the hell are you doing there?
Zooming out. Oh, the zooming in and zooming out. I got the zoom. Somehow it just zoomed out. I didn't even touch it. It's like
that's something. Magic. That was dramatic.
Ooh. It really was. It went right up. Anyway, you can see it at YouTube as well. Dean Blundell TV, Dean Blundell Show on Twitch and YouTube as well. So you can go and hit subscribe. That'd be awesome. Anywhere you get your fine podcasts. And of course, big hello to Ed's Fine Imports. His Gitch. We wear them. GITCH3 is your promo code. Go there. He'll send you a free pair of underwear. Boxer briefs. Best in the business. Guaranteed. Easy Auto Financial. EdsFineImports.com. And Kivlaw Defense Lawyers. Thank you, friends. Let's get to it. Linz, we got a lot to get to today. We've got Hockey Canada to get to today. The whole board just went bye-bye after trying to cover up years of sexual assault, which they decided just to pay people off for instead of actually getting to the bottom of it. It's fucking wild. It's a crazy story. We've got that going for us today. We've got some racism in hockey, specifically Steve Simmons, the Toronto Sun, who chose to make fun and light of a black hockey player who started the Hockey Diversity Alliance, Akeem Alou. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit, or maybe we'll save that for tomorrow because I need like special runway to take care of Steve Simmons.
That one's
yeah, it's huge. And I don't want to talk like, I'm trying to get Akeem on the show. So if you know Akeem, he followed me the other day. He hasn't responded to me, but would love to talk to him because it's not for us to decide how people look at diversity. It's not for us as white men to decide how black people go through racism and the experience and the life that they feel. But Steve Simmons decide because he's the biggest piece of shit with a newspaper article and a byline to his name. Yeah. The biggest piece of shit in the business. And I've been saying it for a long time. So we might get to that coming up in a couple minutes. And we're also going to get to the Blue Jays epic collapse, and maybe we might get to some Toronto Maple Leaf stuff because we've got the season starts tomorrow, I believe. I think it starts tonight, but the season starts basically tomorrow. Basically, in earnest, and
officially,
I don't care. Yeah, and I don't care. I really don't care. No, I really don't care. But before we get to sports, I want to remind everybody I am a fan of science. So today, as I was running errands, I wheeled by the pharmacy. Like, gotta go in and get some melatonin. I'm all out of melatonin. You know what I use melatonin for? Sleeping.
Good
So
stuff.
I stop into the pharmacy and I say, can I get a booster? And she's like, sure. What do you want? I said, do you have the bivalent? She goes, we sure do. I'm like, no shit. You got it already.
Nice.
Yeah, we got it 3 days ago. She goes, do you want the Pfizer? Do you want the Moderna? Do you know what I said to her? I go, fucking surprise me.
That's it. Yeah.
Whatever you got closest, whatever's handiest.
What'd you end up getting?
I got the Moderna because I don't care.
Yeah.
So I sit down, give her my card. She hands me a piece of paper. I sign it. I go sit down. She wheels this thing over, lifts up my shoulder, jabs the thing in my arm, gives me a piece of paper. I got a nice little, see that? I got a nice
little dot.
There. I got a nice little dot because I got a Band-Aid on there.
Right. You get a sucker?
And I just wanted to let everybody know. What's that?
Did you get a sucker?
No sucker.
No?
Got a
No
freezie.
sucker.
She gave me a freezie.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah.
She goes, no, but we got freezies for kids. I'm like, I'll take a freezie. No word of a lie. Blue. I got the blue freezie.
I know how this goes.
She just handed me a freezie. I'm 49 and I still wanted a freezie. Fuck you. I like freezies. So anyway, as I'm getting this vaccine in my arm, she starts telling me what this vaccine comes with, right?
Mm-hmm.
She puts it in my arm. I get the freezie. I'm like, tell me a little bit about this bivalent Moderna vaccine. She's like, well, get ready to have a massive deposit of free money in your bank account from Klaus Schwab.
Nice.
I'm like,
nice.
Yes. Finally, the Schwab money.
Nice.
Finally, Klaus's dough.
Opening up
Everybody's
the WEF bank.
Getting it. Yeah. I'm like,
Yes.
fuck, finally, I want the Klaus Schwab bucks. I got the Klaus Schwab
bucks.
And get ready for a fucking perfect social credit score.
Oh.
I'm like, ooh, you don't say. She's like, yeah, that's right. Everybody that gets the by the way, I'm lying. Everybody that gets the bivalent gets Klaus Schwab bucks and a perfect social credit score. And if you're a guy, your penis grows 2 inches. That's what she said.
That's what I heard. I heard that too. I heard the same thing.
You know, do you have one that makes it smaller? Because that's my problem. She's like, no, we don't.
Now he is lying. Okay.
Now I'm lying, lied about the whole thing, actually. But I did go and get my bivalent shot because I'm an actual citizen of this country. And I give a shit.
Good for you.
And I understand science. Jamie Saleh is going to be pissed, isn't she?
Yeah.
And me first of the Nuremberg trials.
Well, you will be brought up as a witness at least. They will check your bank account for those Schwab bucks.
Schwab dollars?
Yeah. My wife got the booster 3 weeks ago.
Did she get a big dump of money in her bank account from Klaus Schwab?
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you see our new car?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't have an accident. I just got a new car. I just threw the old one away.
You don't need it when you got.
Yeah, I don't need it anymore. Just buy another one.
Absolutely.
No, she got the booster, and then a week later, you know what happened? She got COVID, and guess what? She's still glad she got the booster.
Is she?
Yeah. So
why is that? Because of all the Klaus Schwab money?
Because we know because we know vaccines don't prevent COVID 100%, but they do prevent deaths in COVID.
Terrible outcomes.
And horrible outcomes. And it brings your viral load down. I didn't get COVID. We lived in the same house. We didn't change. We didn't change our routine much. We had separate sleeping arrangements, but you know, there was nothing else. Like we already have separate bathrooms too, as it is. Just
did she walk around with a mask when she was in present company?
No,
didn't want to?
Not at all. No, she didn't. I didn't insist on such a thing. We kept away. Obviously, like we weren't like.
Why didn't you insist on her quarantining and hurting her mental health in her?
Because I'm not a psycho. Yeah, I'm not a psycho, and
that's right.
Neither is she. Like we were a bit psycho. We were psychotic. It's funny. I was thinking about it when this all first started. Yes. We were psychotic at the beginning because of where she worked. We thought for sure before we knew all that we know now.
Were you hosing her down before she'd walk in the front?
We were the grocery wipers. That's who we were, right? We were those people. We were, you know, she'd come home from work. She would take her shoes off outside, directly into the bathroom, strip down, clothes into the laundry, into the shower. She went. It was, and then we realized as the science evolved and we all learned more about COVID and how things work, and then vaccines came out and booster shots and everything else, we realized, okay, we can tone it down a bit because we're doing the right thing. And now
we've got these beautiful vaccines coursing through our veins, preventing us from the worst of the worst possible outcomes. We get it. It's a strategy layer of strategies. It's what it is.
Yeah. And it's that the Swiss cheese model thing that they talk about, right? So, and I thought back, if this was 2 years ago, 3 years ago almost, if it was then, could you imagine if she came home with COVID, what we would have done? She'd have been in a tent in the fucking park across the road. You know, I'd feed her with a stick. Like that's how we operated, and you know what I mean? Like I put it on the end of a stick, like a hobo bag, and like just hand it to her.
Hot dog shotguns,
cannon, food cannon.
You just fire food into the backyard for us. You don't have to get too closer. Yeah, we're crazy about it. I think that's what made people so fucking crazy. Obviously, I'm joking around about Klaus Schwab. Obviously, I know it's all fucking bullshit. Obviously, there's no.
We get paid by Justin Trudeau. Duh.
Social credit score. Obviously, I'm making fun and trolling the fucking losers who don't understand science and don't care to and don't give a shit about anybody else other than themselves. But obviously, I don't care what they do either. Reason why I'm telling you that I got my bivalent shot is because it was that easy just to walk in, get a layer of protection for flu season, in which Omicron is going to be the worst. And today, big news that in the last 2 months, the hospitalization has been doubled, tripled in some cases. You got ERs shutting down. I'm trying to protect the healthcare system. I'm trying to protect myself, people around me, the marginalized post. Because you know why? Let me tell you why. These fucking things work. They're incredible. They're like scientific miracles, if you will, and made by man to protect man and woman. Sorry if you're non-binary. Sorry if you don't identify as any of those. Them, they, you, me, all of us. Okay? I find the whole thing.
If you got two upright retaining fluids, they're here to protect you.
That's right. I don't care. I don't care what's between your legs. I don't care how you think. I got that for you. All the unvaccinated got it for you. For the vaccinated folks, got it for you. My dad, sick, had a terrible episode this last week. Don't even want to get into it because it doesn't matter. I'm not a victim. And dude's got all his vaccines. He's feeling really good today. He's feeling great today. And it could have been worse. 72-year-old man. So anyway, I implore everybody, if you are of like mind and you're not opposed, if you usually get flu shots every season, go get it or not.
You've got a kick in your step today. I think it's because you know that you've only got like 2 or 3 years left, right? Like what's the D date on the vaccines? Like when do you die? Is it 2 years?
Never.
Or was it 5 years?
It's just all bullshit. No, and that's the part that I love talking about too. Like I was talking with a buddy of mine and I told him, like, just before we got on the show, he's like, hey, you want to get together later for we're having coffee or pints over at this thing. And I'm like, hey, yeah, we'll see how I feel. I just got my my booster shot. See if I'm feeling good later on today. No big deal. And he's like, you got a booster shot? Haven't you learned anything?
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, lots. That's why I got a booster shot.
Learning more in this conversation too, pal.
He's like, whatever, man. And I'm like, you know what? I'll still be your friend. I'll still be your friend because this is what everybody has been asking for 2 years. Right? Yeah. Is for people like us who they call elitist, by the way. Oh, like you know more than us. Actually, we do. That's why we got vaccinated. That's why we take it seriously. We look at the holistic versions of the entire discussion. That's what we do. We look at hospitalization rates.
You probably believe in education too.
Yes, strangely enough, I do. Learning. I agree with learning.
Book learning.
So then I went out and got my vaccine today. And it was like a spur of the moment thing. I haven't even thought about it. Like this bivalent thing's rolling around. I'm like, it might be for me later. Who knows? I don't care. And then I just decided to go get it. And it was so easy to do it. But this is what everybody's been asking for, to leave you alone. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm telling you what I did for myself. I'm giving you the reasons why. I'm telling you it's 100% safe and you should go and do it. I'm telling you that anybody says all these people are dropping dead, like Jamie Saleh. Jamie Saleh hates the fact that I got vaccinated again.
Oh, yeah.
Today. She hates it. She is waiting for, as she said last week, the fucking Nuremberg trials to start so she can help start hanging Canadians who got vaccinated or decided to be part of the solution.
Good.
So I'm pumped.
Good for her.
For the Nuremberg trials in her head, because I'll be one of the people on the gallows going, string me up.
It's going to be a hell of a long lineup getting in.
I know. For the Nuremberg
considering
trials?
85 or 90% of this country has vaccines in their arms.
Yeah.
So
like, how are we going to do? What courtroom is going to hold 30 million people?
I don't know, man.
And
maybe
it's
this
on one day.
I've noticed a correlation, and it's not causation, it is correlation between the ability to estimate numbers and sizes of things and not getting vaccines. Have you noticed that? People that don't get vaccines really think everything they look at is like the convoy. Remember, there was millions of trucks and tens of millions of people. Like, I think they have a problem with math. I think that's what it comes down to. It's just math.
Anything with numbers. That's why none of them are vaccinated, right? Like it's and again, I don't care if anybody's vaccinated. I really don't. I get the science. I'm doing what's best for me. I know what's coming for you, and God, good luck, right? Like that's all it is at this point, because so many of us have figured it out. But for the people that haven't, it's like they wait with bated breath for someone to die.
Yeah.
Right. And then what they do is they take that death and they spin the shit out of it. Where they're like, no, this is like, and anytime they can introduce some kind of like, oh, it might be, who knows? Anytime they can introduce uncertainty to the equation, they'll fucking jump on it.
It's like today.
Like a fat kid on a Kit Kat. Seriously.
Yeah, it happened today. So I've got Facebook, but I don't use it very often. I use it for the podcast. I use it for,
everybody says, dude.
You know what it is? I'm just lazy and I don't want to take all the pictures that I have of like Kaylee and stuff out and like put them somewhere else. It's like, just leave it. I just don't bother with it. But sometimes I'll go and I'll check on certain individuals on Facebook that I know are just absolute batshit crazy when it comes to this stuff. Yeah. And I went today, just before we got on the show. This is the best part, because I just thought, I knew we were talking about vaccines. I figured we'll take a little stroll through somebody. And sure enough, there was a paramedic, and this was back in August. This is how long it's been. I haven't seen updates from these people in that long. Back in like August, a local paramedic here in town died in a tragic Ski-Doo accident in the States. Very sad deal. She was a young girl, just up and coming in her career. Just a terrible, tragic event. And this person had shared it, and a like-minded individual, the only comment on it was, yeah, a lot of unknown causes of death in young people lately. Meanwhile, the headline is, died tragically in a Ski-Doo accident.
Yeah, they're all fucking idiots.
But that's the vaccine. The vaccine did it. So, like, fuck me. Like, they're so set and so blinded, and just like that tunnel vision, that myopic tunnel vision, to blame everything on it. Yeah,
because they got nothing. Like they have no science behind anything that they're saying. They've got no understanding of the science. They don't want to even an attempt to understand science. It'll break their fucking tiny, cognitively delayed and Swiss cheese brains. Yeah. So they're like, no, just give me more dead Canadians. It's all I care about right now. Just give me more sad stories of people.
Kill my neighbor to own the libs.
Yeah, so I can attach like my narrative to some sadness, so I can send it out there into the ethosphere, so everybody's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't get. No, you should. It is brilliant. The science behind it is incredible. I've studied the bivalent vaccine. I've gone to like doctors, infectious disease experts, some of which and said, in a DM, explain this to me. Can you call me? Sure. They call me. They're here. Mm-hmm. This is what the deal is with it. It's mRNA plus, and it's got all the new variants, and it's a great little boost. It's like a flu shot for the same reason, right? And listen, if you're already vaccinated, you got all the business, good for you, great. If you're not, good for you, great. I don't care what you do. I'm speaking to the people that are reasonable right now. And if you have the ability to reason, there we go. Go do it. Boom in the arm. You'll feel like do I look like a guy that just got a lethal dose of a vaccine that's like on some kind of trial basis? No, I don't.
No, you look fine.
Every infectious disease expert on the planet's like, line me up, hit me with a little dose, give me a little boost. Yeah, I'm in. All in, as you should be too. And exactly. I don't care.
I think it's funny. I think it's incredible. It's the rapture all over again, but it's government or WEF rapture, delayed death, and because that's all they have. Like, nobody's dropping dead of like in mass quantities of people in mass graves anywhere from getting vaccinated. So they have to say, well, it's going to happen in 5 years from now, and in 5 years from now, just like the rapture. Every time we hear about the rapture, oh no. It's next year. So you watch next year, and it'll eventually fizzle out. So yeah, we'll see. See how long it takes. Well.
I'm excited that it's going to fizzle out. I don't even care. I'm just going to continue to do what I do. I would encourage everybody else to continue to do what they're doing. And I would tell everybody whether or not just to stay out of everybody else's fucking business, right? Like that's the thing. And the reason why I'm telling you about my medical history, the reason why is because I got nothing to fucking hide. I understand
I don't give a
science.
shit.
Everybody, no, I don't care. And so if someone comes to me and they go, why did you do that? I'll tell them it's none of your fucking business. And they'll be like, well, you're talking about it on your podcast. I'm like, yeah, that's because I want to. I'm not talking about it with you. And the reason why I did it is for everybody else around me. And I understand it. You don't. You just look for arguments just to be able to fucking say that you're a badass or you're
pretty much it.
No, anyway. Anyway, nice day. Bivalent, leveled
Good
up.
for you.
Looking forward to the Bucks and the social credit score. It's going to be fucking sweet.
It's nice.
Yeah, that's right. Want to introduce you to somebody that joined the network about a year ago. And the reason why I introduced you to him is because it is one of our biggest podcasts. And as we turn the page, that's right. As we turn the page on a Blue Jays season, which was fucking hilarious. And as we pivot to a basketball, dude, I was miserable. Pivot to basketball season. We're also pivoting to what could be 6 years in a row of a first round exit in a Game 7 loss. And please welcome to the program to talk about that and the Leaf season, which begins next week, which everybody that isn't a Leaf fan will be so tired of primetime Leaf games back in December that I had to bring him on. Please welcome Robbie Furnish from the Talking Buds podcast.
Robbie.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Nice
thank
to
you for
see
having
you.
me on.
Oh, great to see you. This is our intro, isn't it? This is our first time doing this.
Yes, the first time.
It's like the heavy petting version of getting to know each other.
You're right, and it has.
I'll just smoke a cigarette quietly in the corner then. Yeah.
It has been about a year since we joined the network. So, yes, this is my first time on.
Yeah. Robert and his brother do an incredible podcast. It's called Talking Buds. I'd highly encourage everybody to go download it if you're a Leaf fan. I get all my knowledge from them, which I don't know, is that good or bad, Robert? Like, I'm probably good. Like, when I listen to your podcast, I'm like, okay, they got a Leaf game coming up. I want to learn about this. Or last couple weeks ago when you guys were talking cap for Austin Matthews because he's coming up to the final year of his contract. I'm like, ooh, these are nuggets nobody else gets into. So how long have you been doing the podcast and when did you get into it?
We started doing it 4 years ago, but it really didn't kick into another gear until my wife and I bought a house during COVID, and then we were able to build the studio in my basement, and now we actually have the video component, and so that's when it kind of took off. Before it was just pretty hodgepodge with the audio version, but so I would say officially 2 years.
2 years, and you do it with your brother. You guys are both huge Leaf fans, right? Like you grew up being a Leaf fan. Yeah, it was from your dad. Like, take me through the origin story of how one becomes such a fan that you know the ins and outs, the cap friendly, long-term injured reserve, contract status, how the team's built, all the shit that everybody else goes, you know, did they win or did they lose?
Rain Man.
And you're like, fuck you. I want to talk about the other stuff. How did you get this into it? Because you're fucking like, I've never seen two guys that love a team and do a podcast and are related. By the way,
origin is what you just said. Growing up, my dad, huge fan, watching it every Saturday with him. We both played minor hockey growing up. And yeah, it's just something that we followed our whole life and something we feel really passionate and strongly about. And even though we do get into the ins and outs, we kind of pride ourselves on being like the no BS Leafs podcast. Like it's supposed to be, we really like the vibe to be two guys just sitting around the bar, drinking a couple, old Milwaukee's, as you point out all the time, Dean, and talking Leafs. And that's really the vibe that we go for. So because if I listen to a podcast and it's too numbers heavy and analytics heavy and expected goals and all that, it puts me to sleep. So I was just like, let's get on and rant and rave and be passionate for 25 minutes, 30 minutes a week. And I think it works. That works for us.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's such a great show. It's a great podcast. We love it. Talking Buds is the name of the podcast. Robert Furnish and his brother. It's the Furnish Cast. You should just call it the Furnish Leaf.
It is.
It's
the Furnish.
Fully furnished.
Yeah. Do you guys get along all the time, really, by the way? I don't see you.
Yeah, brothers. How does that work out, that dynamic?
Exactly.
We do, actually. I'm 7 years older than him. So it's not, there's no real competitive dynamic. We're both kind of different, though. Like he's blue collar landscaper type drinking the PBR and the Busch Light and the old Milwaukee, and I'm Mr. Sit at my computer and work all day. So we kind of complement each other in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys get along great. It's great. Here's the name of the podcast again, Talking Buds. It's the Talking Buds Leaf Show, Talking Buds. You can go and download, subscribe. It's got a perfect rating because these guys are really good. They analyze the team on a weekly basis, share their opinions on recent news. So let's get to it because what does the season start tomorrow? No, another season start tomorrow. Before I get into expectations, before I ask Rob Furnish, Uber Leaf fan, podcaster, about anything to do with this team, what your expectations are, Matt Murray, all that bullshit, all of it, as we try to figure it out in our heads before the season starts, is part of you kind of hoping for yet another first round exit in Game 7? Or are you tired of it? Because that narrative is like the Chicago Cubs narrative after 112 years or whatever it is. You're like, it's fun being the loser all the time.
I'm tired of it. Like, you know what? I'm going to sound like typical nauseating Leaf fan here. I really like their team this year. I think this is set up perfectly to go into the first round with completely unrealistic, elevated expectations and to have our hearts broken again. It's set up absolutely perfectly. I think they have a legitimate chance if the goaltending holds up. I think they have a legitimate chance to compete for their division and potentially play a wild card team in the first round, which will totally jack our expectations to the moon. And then they'll rip our hearts out of our chests and step on them again. And it's super interesting too, because it's like they've gone very public with Kyle Dubas's contractual status, where it's like the dude's job is essentially hanging on winning a playoff round. Yeah. It's like, it's unbelievable. When's the last time you saw something in sports like this? And for the team to be so public about it, it's wild.
Yeah. How is it a Toronto thing? Why is it a Toronto thing? Like Toronto sports franchises being the richest they are, they just can't seem to get it together.
So entitled. Oh yeah.
Like, is that what it is?
Oh, yeah,
well, I don't know. Sure. I mean, you look at, I think what happened with the Jays this past weekend and what's happened with the Leafs 5 years in a row, like you kind of forget. I spent
how awesome it is to live here.
Yeah. I spent all weekend going Kawhi Leonard. It's like we forgot that we had him and they did win a championship. So it's not a complete and utter curse. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's just the second you put the word Toronto in front of us on the front of a sports uniform, it's just heartbreak city, man. I have no idea.
You know what it is for me is that, like, I enjoy the narratives. Like, I'm a big fan of Schadenfreude. I know how nauseating Toronto Maple Leaf hockey is to the rest of the country because it's a numbers game, right? Like, if you think about it, the one complaint that every other NHL city has and every other NHL fan in this country has is enough of the fucking Leafs in prime time. Every night, Leafs in prime time. They could be on the West Coast and they'll figure out a way to get the fucking Leafs in primetime. We can't get a Senators game in primetime nationwide. We can't get an Oilers. Well, you might get an Oilers game because of Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. But generally speaking, they suck the fun out of the hockey world in this country, right? And perennially, they're the funniest fucking story in sports. Yep. So when I sit back and I watch what happened to the Toronto Blue Jays on the weekend, where they get shut out in the first game because Castillo was all world, and then they blow an 8-1 lead, and then you combine it with what happened on the last 5 years in a row, Game 7s for the Leafs, first round, booting expectations, wasting primetime Austin Matthews, wasting primetime Mitch Marner. Some would say Mitch Marner wasted primetime Austin Matthews, but whatever the situation is, there's this narrative around sports that I find to be fucking 100% true. It's like we psych ourselves out. The moment gets too big for us.
Yeah.
Fan bases. And it's like we can't get over the hump. But part of me fucking loves it because when a guy from Edmonton like Locke is on the show and he's like, fuck the Leafs, fuck Leaf fans. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Oh, you know, should have heard him. Should have heard him this morning on the radio in Edmonton. It was the Toronto Maple Jays is what he was referring to them as all morning when he was doing sports updates on Cruise FM this morning. So
yeah, he was. Anyway,
they hate it. They hate it, but they don't.
Anyone who puts out Leaf content though will tell you that them losing is great for business. It really is.
yeah.
Dude, your subs and your views and your hits go through the roof. Like the point, there's a point in the season last
I
year.
love how selfish we are about it.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. There was a point in the season last year, like kind of the dog days, like February or whatever, and they were cruising. Like they won like 7, 8 in a row or 10 of 12 or something like that. And it just doesn't your content just doesn't hit as hard because people don't care anymore because they're good. And the second they start losing, it's like, oh my God, we just got 50 new subs in a day. So it's not necessarily the worst thing. I got a bone to pick with Oiler fans though, because as far as I'm concerned, they're just as annoying as us Leaf fans. Like if I didn't realize Jack Campbell was the second coming of George Vezina, like you listen to these guys talk and it's like they just got the greatest NHL goalie of all time, and it's like, okay, good. Let me know how that goes for you.
So true. It's
Yeah.
so true.
It's true, dude. There's a reason why Toronto didn't re-sign him, right?
Yes.
And then I watched Matt Murray go 5-0 in the preseason, and he made some spectacular saves, like Matt Murray 2017, 2018 saves. Like he looked fucking so good.
Mhm.
And I was like, maybe Kyle Dubas knows something. But to your point, you're right. Any kind of misery, any kind of like mistake, any kind of like depressive. And I remember having this conversation with Nick Kyprios a couple of years ago. This is 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3.
Yep.
I'm like, what happened? And this is after 3 years of being out in the first round. He goes, Dino, can you imagine? This is 2 years ago. If they lose again in the first, can you imagine?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Then they did it 2 more times.
Yes. Well, and I think last year, losing to Tampa and the way they did, I don't think, as much as it sucks, it did not burn as bad as the year prior, blowing the 3-1 lead to the Habs. Like that is something that we as Leaf fans will never ever recover from.
I
And
think it was the Boston one. The Boston one was the worst one.
Well, I think the Jays, it's funny. I was texting some of my buddies on the weekend and I'm like, what hurts more, 4-1 in 2013 or 8-1 in the 6th inning or whatever it was?
Yes.
Which one burns you more? I would say the 8-1, or 8-1's at least sort of made the sting of 4-1 in 2013 a little easier.
I just think it fits. I'm just glad it happened because it's us. Like, you know, if it's not that, and fuck, dude, Austin Matthews threw the first pitch at that game where they're
well,
all they needed.
There was all these funny jokes about he was throwing the curse to the Blue Jays. He like put the curse inside the ball and threw it towards the Blue Jays.
Yeah, but is it a curse? It's obviously not. I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in karma. I don't believe in any of those things. It's, to me, it's like entitlement in action, right? Like the way the Jays went into the trade, they lost at the trade deadline. I was watching Whit Merrifield play center field in game 1, or maybe, was he play second? I think he was playing second in game 1 because Espinal wasn't in game 1. And I'm like, well, this is just kind of karma. Like this is just, you know, the way the season works. This is the way that it's always been, is that you got kids that are hurt and you got kids that aren't. But I'm watching Whit Merrifield, who wasn't supposed to be playing second base, who's supposed to be a depth guy, right, for the Blue Jays, started that game at second base. And then I was watching Luis Castillo throw BBs and just frustrate the fuck out of this team and shut us out, and maybe the best playoff pitching performance I've ever seen. And I'm like, that guy should have been a Blue Jay. Luis Castillo should have been ours. And we didn't take a shot. Same thing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Their blue line was shit last year. Their blue line, they didn't really even address this year. They just got Mark Giordano in a song, and hopefully Sandin can plug some holes. Hopefully Jake Muzzin isn't a pylon and they don't need his salary for LTIR. Hopefully they didn't do anything there. And it's that same sense of entitlement where, you know, they think that they're good enough, or the general manager says, my job is on the line here, so this is what I am going to do. But it's almost that sense of entitlement in both situations that you look back and you go, you didn't do enough. You didn't go all the way. You never do. It seems like as a fan, that should be part of the narrative that we're talking about when it comes to these epic collapses, because it's not karma, it's entitlement as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, I would agree with you there. And the hockey thing's a bit different. The NHL is different because they're strapped to the salary cap, right? Like Something came out on Cap Friendly this morning when they're or yesterday when they were chopping the rosters down that they have like $4 left in available cap space. Yeah,
$4.
Yeah,
Shit.
literally $4 left in available.
That's some forensic accounting right there. Nice job.
Yes. So in that sense, it's like there's only so much they can do. And the Jays are a bit different in that sense because money isn't an option for them. If they want to, they can go spend as much as they want. I just, with the Leafs, it's, for me, when I look at their playoff failures, it's the big guys not getting it done. Like that's what my opinion is of the whole situation. It's like we need, if you're Austin Matthews, even though I don't think he was bad at all, and Marner wasn't bad at all last year, but it's like you look at the Lightning's best players, you look at Vasilevsky, you look at Hedman, you look at Stamkos, you look at Kucherov, and these are guys who elevate their team, and the role players sort of point. Yeah, these are guys who elevate their team, and the role players sort of go along. They elevate the rest of the team with them, so they can get a big goal from a role player because their top guys are setting the tone, and that's something that I just think. And I don't know if these guys feel the pressure. I don't know, Dean, if you're right, if it's a sense of entitlement, and it's just not. It's not. There's not enough of a sense of urgency, but it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
I just meant from an organization standpoint, like, you're that close and you're the Blue Jays and your trade deadline acquisitions are not Luis Castillo ones. Like, you know what I mean?
Baffling.
And the same thing with the Toronto Maple Leafs at the trade deadline. And the same thing with their blue line. It's like they know more than everybody else at some point, and it bites them in the ass every time, like every single fucking time. And the rest of the country laughs at us. And I dig it. I think it's actually pretty fucking funny, and it's way better for clicks and ratings, as you pointed out. Let's get to the roster. This is the standard guys from Editor and Leaf. I don't know if you read these. Toronto Maple Leafs opening night roster is disappointing, and it's understandable. Take us through a couple of things that you like about this roster as you head into the year, because you're like, hey, this is still a pretty good team. 2022, 2023, Wayne Simmons is looking for a new home. You got sent down. Insert Malgin, insert Robertson, insert who else? I mean, what else?
Reese.
Yeah,
the guy they brought in on a PTO, who they've signed as like a fourth line role player type. They got rid of Wayne Simmons because, and there's a lot of people upset about the decision to move on from Wayne Simmons, and I get it, because a criticism of this team for years now has been toughness and getting pushed around and whatever. But in today's NHL, the reason why a guy like Tom Wilson, for instance, is so coveted is because he's a tough guy who can actually put the puck in the opposing team's net. And you look at and I'm not saying Zach Aston-Reese is Tom Wilson at all, but he is the type of guy that if you put on your fourth line, can skate, can move, can hit, can set the tone. And that's the type of guy that they've been missing for the last couple of years. The biggest talking point, at least on our show, has been who's going to be the second line left winger, because you got Tavares, you got Nylander. It looks like they're going with Dennis Malgin. Keefe said yesterday, I believe, or this morning, that the reason why Malgin got the spot is because Robertson can clear waivers. He can just go through and no one can claim him. Whereas if they try and send Malgin down, there's a possibility that he can be claimed. So I guess they're going to roll with Malgin to start the season. Who knows what's going to happen with the cap space? Like we brought up Jake Muzzin earlier. Like it's a foregone conclusion that Jake Muzzin will be on LTIR at some point this year, or he'll be out for a week or two. So there's some cap space that you can play with there. Timothy Liljegren is hurt, so it's going to give a guy like Justin Hull a chance to draw into the lineup. But at the end of the day, when you look at the roster, it's like, yes, you can plug in your Zach Aston-Reeses. You can have a great third checking line of Pierre Engvall, Kerfoot, and David Kampf. But at the end of the day, your big boys are going to be the ones that carry you through. And I think Austin Matthews, should he stay healthy, to me, it's not a matter of if, it's when he gets 65 goals this year. My expectations for Austin Matthews this year are through the roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we had a guy write an article. It's like Austin Matthews is not going to score 60 goals again.
He is going to score 60 goals again, 100%. 100%. I saw that too. And listen, it's he might not, but I just think I've really liked his demeanor in camp. Like I know people get upset about the pink outfits and the sunglasses and the sort
That's
of
because we're idiots. That's because
Yeah.
people are losers and they focus on all the wrong shit. And he's got his own
Yeah.
personality. He's a fucking playa, as they say.
Yeah, he is, and he just looks like he's got a chip on his shoulder and he's got a confidence about him this year that like I haven't really seen. And if he can stay healthy, which is always the biggest if, I just think he's going to have another monster season. I think we're talking another Rocket Richard and potentially another Hart Trophy. I think he could be that good this year.
Did they do enough to plug the holes and the reasons why they lost over the last 5 years? Did they do enough like to address the issues that they had last year? Or did they just run into the Stanley Cup champion on a heater? When you look at what needed to be addressed, goaltending needed to be addressed. Their blue line needed to be addressed. They look like, sideways moves. They don't look like vertical moves to me. But your thoughts, because you're the guy.
I just don't think they had enough like cap space or trade capital to go out and get like a big name defenseman. I just don't think that was a realistic option for them. I think I'm sure they looked into it. I'm sure they talked to people, but if you look at like bringing in like a Jacob Chikrin or something, it's like something's got to go out the other way. And I don't know who that would be, and I don't know where they would get the cap space to do that. So you kind of look at it like they're a bit strapped in that sense. That's why I didn't have huge expectations going into this offseason. I was wondering what they were going to do about the goaltending situation. And I, like most people, had a knee-jerk reaction when they went and got Matt Murray and was like, oh my God, you're going with Matt Murray. But as we talked about it on our show, it's like, is going in to this season with Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov really all that different than going into last season with Jack Campbell and Peter Mrazek? I don't think it is. If you didn't know anything and I put Jack Campbell and Matt Murray's resumes in front of you, which one would you choose? The guy with the 2 cup rings. Yeah, the guy with the 2 cup rings. And that's not to say he's going to come out and be a world beater this year. He was awful when he played for the Ottawa Senators, but he's looked pretty good in preseason. We've talked on our show about how important is preseason, and I think for the superstars, I don't think it matters at all. But for a guy like Matt Murray, who's starting a fresh start in a new place, I thought it was important, because if he went out in one of these preseason games and got shelled for 4 or 5 goals, the next day it would be, oh my God, Kyle Dubas brought in his guy from the Sioux and he stinks. And they're going into the season with Matt Murray. What a joke. And so he's looked pretty good. And I think that's important for him to get off on the right foot like that, even if they are preseason games. And that's what this entire season is going to come down to, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Can these 2 guys play competently? I don't think they need to be Vezina Trophy candidates. I think if they play competently, the Leafs have a shot to win their division.
Mm-hmm. I'm just happy not to see Peter Mrazek in that again for the Toronto Maple Leafs ever again.
Me too.
Ever. Yeah. If he wasn't hurt, he sucked. And if he didn't suck, he was lucky. He was just like, and what a drain. Like, and you think about how Matt Murray came here. He came on a discount, obviously Ottawa keeping part of that salary and stuff. And Samson, both of those guys are high draft picks. So if I'm not mistaken, they're both first round draft picks. Am I correct in assuming that?
I think, yeah. And they're 2 guys who needed fresh starts, and they've come here to get one. And the best thing about this is it's going to be a true tandem. Like you're not looking at Matt Murray to play 70 games, 65 games. You're looking at Matt Murray to play like 50 games, and Samsonov to take over just this week. The first game is tomorrow night against Montreal. Then they play the next night against Washington. So Samsonov's first game as a Leaf is going to be at home against his old team.
Yeah. That's exciting. I love those narratives and those little stories too. That's going to be fun to watch. But listen, if you're a Leaf fan, some advice from someone with 0 horses in the race. Mm-hmm. Stop saying stuff like this is the year.
Yeah.
It's all over Twitter today. That's all it is. All it is.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Is everybody going on? Are they really? They're going on Twitter on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stop it. You just look like an idiot in the spring every year. Like super idiots, because it happens the same way. Same depressive, disgusting way. Stop it. maybe this is the year you as Leaf fans, Rob, I don't know about you because you got a vested interest in it's a little business for you and you got a great podcast, Talking Buds, the name of the podcast. Robert Furnish is our guest. You can get it anywhere you get your fine podcasts, including the Dean Blundell Network. But my advice to you and every single one of these is just enjoy it. Wait and see. Watch it fucking play out. Don't say this is the year. Don't get upset because we're wasting primetime Austin Matthews. He's getting paid. He's fine. He's going to be okay. Mitchie's getting paid. He's going to be fine. He's okay. All of these guys are fine. They enjoy it. But stop reading into it and stop. Like the one thing that I noticed specifically when the Jays lost is how personally everybody fucking took it.
Oh yeah.
They can't help it.
Yeah. No, they can't
help it.
For me, it's the Kyle Dubas discourse. Like it's either I friggin' hate this guy or it's I love this guy. He can do no wrong. And the truth is somewhere in the middle, as is usually the case. Yeah. But to me, that's what I find so exhausting is the fighting over. Like I like Kyle Dubas. I don't love every move he's made. And I think there's certain aspects where he's had to learn on the job a little bit. Yeah. But if doesn't mean like I'm going to criticize him. Doesn't mean I hate the guy. And I find like if you say anything negative, you get the Dubas fans coming at you. And if you say anything positive, you got the haters coming at you. And it's just guys, just watch the fucking game.
Watch the goddamn game.
Like, seriously, like, just watch the games.
It's like why a lot of these you wonder, do you even enjoy the actual sport anymore? Or is it just this? Is it just this? Because I think sometimes. And I had this thought yesterday. I was talking to somebody about when they shut professional sports down for COVID. Everybody became an armchair epidemiologist because they got fucking bored because they didn't have sports to argue about. So they figured, let's go argue about vaccines. And then when they started opening sports up again, they were still wanting to argue. So let's argue about Bitcoin and the economy. Thankfully, sports is back 100% now. These guys can fuck off, go back to their own corners, do their thing, and go ahead, yell. Tell people it's the year for the Leafs.
I don't think you're wrong.
I just pulled these like 31 minutes ago. Like this is nonstop on Twitter.
Toronto Maple Leafs will win the 2023 Stanley Cup champions.
I know.
Toronto Maple Leafs will win. Toronto Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup. Why do you just watch the game?
Just exactly watch the games.
Yes,
we're literally watching the career of, in my opinion, the greatest Toronto Maple Leaf of all time
ever.
Just sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just sit back and enjoy it. Yeah.
It's
a pleasure to watch
unfold.
every night.
Absolutely. Yep. I fucking couldn't be happier that you're saying that, Robert Furnish from the Talking Buds podcast.
Thanks, buddy.
Is that you have an opportunity to watch maybe the greatest goal scorer to ever lace him up for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He might be the best defensive forward to ever play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He also might be the best all-around player to play. In fact, I would venture a guess to say he is. No offense to Daryl Sittler, Rick Vive, Matt Sundin, but this guy is doing shit that none of those guys did. This is incredible to watch. You have a golden horse in the race. You've got a Connor McDavid light. Might even be better than Connor McDavid on certain nights. You don't know that. Yeah. But what you're doing is like the only thing that matters to you is your Stanley Cup. That's it. Is that the only thing that matters to you? Because you know what? All of you that attach this personal vendetta against the world of sports and you assume the world is out for you, they're not. This is just a team that hasn't won in like fucking couple generations.
Long time.
Enjoy that story too. But for whatever, don't look into your fucking idiotic crystal ball with a can of Busch Light going, this is the year, and if not, I'm burning my jersey.
Fingerprints.
Because you're an idiot.
Yeah.
All of you.
Yes. Agreed.
Covered in chip fingerprints, and you got to polish it off anyway. You can't see shit in there. Stop doing it.
I know.
There are guys who played for this team who are fourth line plugs that have streets named after them and like get public appearance fees up the wazoo. And it's like we idolize those guys. It's like just sit back and watch. In Marner too. Like we'll go down as one of the best Maple Leafs of all time, and they play on the same line. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah. To your point, watching television today, there's Curtis Joseph doing window commercials. So like,
there you go.
Oh wow.
There you go.
It's like when they're trying to sell me internet.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Domi tried to sell me internet.
I bought that package, by the way. Comwave.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wasn't great. But you got
all show, eh? Weird.
Robert Furnish, really appreciate you doing this. Make sure you subscribe to Robert's podcast. I wanted to introduce everybody. Wanted to talk a little Leafs. Wanted to talk about the season starting tomorrow. Really excited. Still planning on having you in tomorrow because Lachlan will be here. So please
Oh,
come
boy.
back.
Oh, yeah,
you're-
please.
Oh yeah, dude. And I want you to run his brain into the ground because he's
Okay.
he's just like a beer drinking hockey fan. That's all he is. And he lives
From
for the
Edmonton.
shit talk. Yeah, he's from Edmonton. They haven't won shit either. Like fuck, relax, everybody. Watching them over the past 10 years has been maybe the greatest story in the NHL. Get
Well, that-
400 first overall draft picks and you trade them all
That's
away
my thing
'cause
about
they're all
Jack
drunk.
Campbell. That's my thing about Jack Campbell. It's like, okay, at least over the years, the Leafs have had a Curtis Joseph, an Ed Belfour,
Yeah.
Fred Anderson, or whatever. The Oilers have been a goalie graveyard for 20 years.
Mhm.
So, whatever. Yes, I'm not a true Oiler hater, but I am getting kind of tired of hearing about how Jack Campbell is the greatest goaltender to ever put pads on.
Well, good. Let's shit all over him tomorrow when Lachlan's on the show. Robert Furnish, appreciate you. At Robert Furnish on Twitter. Talking Buds, the name of the podcast. Go and download, subscribe. Thanks for doing this, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks, Rob.
There he is, Robert Furnish, ladies and
Great
gentlemen.
guy.
Like a last second addition to the show. I'm like, can you pop on? Because got to
Perfect.
talk about the Leafs ahead of the game tomorrow. Wanted to have him on. Wanted to set it up because Lachlan drives me fucking crazy. Like you
2
can't
days
have
in a row of this
normal
will be great.
hockey conversation with him at all.
No.
It's just
No.
all resentment. It's all
No.
Eastern resentment with him anytime you talk about hockey.
He's very loud and very, very bulldozerish when it comes to talking anything to do with, and it could be factual, could be, he needs to get those jabs in. And I think it's just in his blood. That's just how he is.
I think
I think Rob will put him in his place tomorrow. I can't wait to watch it.
What would you prefer this year? A deep run or a Stanley Cup or another first round exit?
First round exit. I love them now.
Me
That's
too.
I've kind of liked it every year now, just because of the content that it gives
I know.
guys like us. And it's a selfish way of thinking, I guess. But I don't care about people that are diehard fans. I really don't about any, like, you're watching grown men get paid a lot of money to play a sport. Fucking relax.
Mhm.
So just to watch the like, we watch Twitter explode, like, and you like we just showed you 30 minutes ago, like it's constantly, people are, this is all that's on their brain is the Leafs, and it's like, no wonder every year you cry. You're grown-ups in your living rooms crying, breaking your TVs, smashing beer bottles. This is, go outside, take a walk, just
relax.
get a dog
and quit taking it personally. Like, that's the other thing. Quit taking sports personally.
Yes.
When did that start? When did a team loss have to end in you not going anywhere for 2 days because you were too distraught?
I hate when people make anything their personality. Like, you get that with weed smokers and sports fans, I find. If they smoke too much weed, or if they smoke, that's all they talk about is weed. Like, I just saw a wedding photo shoot from a very gorgeous, looked like a $5,000 photo wedding, and all it was weed. It's like, that's your personality. Like, you made marijuana your personality. And the same goes for sports fans. Like, why are you, like, how can you make this, like, in politics, same thing.
Yeah.
If people make a politician their personality, it's gross. It's no different with sports. You can be passionate. I don't get, you want to hang up a banner in your rec room, you want to wear a hat, buy a shirt, fine. Leave it alone. Like, put it down sometimes. Enjoy the actual thing that those guys are doing week in and week out for you.
Dude, there are people,
and if you're not, then why are you doing it?
I've got friends. This is no word of a lie. Friends, like professional men, women, professionals, like, they make tons of money and they've got life and perspective, that like get the fucking shakes. They get sweaty during hockey games. They're like, they'll turn it off. I'm like, what do you mean you're turning it off? Like, this is, don't you want to watch what happens? And he's like, no, I can't handle it. I'm like, you just did a merger and an acquisition to the tune of $230 million last week. And the Leafs tied in the third period is too much for you? Is it? It's like, yeah, it is.
Does your board of directors know this?
How does that happen? How does someone get so fucking ensconced into their team that they take it personally? Like, in Buffalo, I get it. There's not a lot going on in Buffalo.
It's fuck all going on in Buffalo.
And there's a love affair there, and I get that there is for the Leafs as well. But generally speaking, normal people can watch the entire game instead of having to watch it from the kitchen, peeking in, because they're too stressed out. And when they lose, they don't fuck it. Like, the videos of people watching that Leaf game demoing their TVs at the end of last season was fucking
we
unbelievable.
played them on the show.
Yeah, it was incredible. Fuck the Leafs. I'm like, okay, fuck the Leafs. Yeah, you just wrecked
But here,
$1,200
and they're on
50-inch
Twitter
television.
today. Those are the guys that are on Twitter today saying this is the year for the cup. This is their year.
And you set yourself up for all kinds of failure because you don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. So I like I say, I just don't. I've never understood the personality thing, like a cult of personality for a certain thing, individual, team, lifestyle. I don't get it. Gym people can fuck off too. Those people didn't. Vegans.
Gym people, people that just started juicing and vegans. Yeah, same guys.
Yeah, juicers. Same people. The juicers. CrossFit people, they can fuck off. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like those people.
You should do a list of people that we resent that can fuck off over the next. We'll do it with Locke. We'll tell him to like make a list tonight, and we'll do our
4-hour podcast.
List. Yeah. Speaking of resentment, did you hear the news about Hockey Canada today?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
About fucking time. Like, talk about clinging on to the last fingernail.
So the board of directors of Hockey Canada all stepped down. Well, I think they were pushed, but they want to say they stepped down because these people, whether you think that they're legitimate or not, are not like you and me. Okay. They're just not. Their reputation is their currency. So let me read this to you. This is from Hockey Canada's website. Hockey Canada overhauls leadership team. Chief steps, executive officer departs effective immediately. Board of directors steps down. This is from Calgary. The Hockey Canada board of directors announced important changes to Hockey Canada's leadership team effective immediately. It announced the departure of Chief Executive Scott Smith, who'd been there since 95. So he's seen a lot of these fucking slush fund payouts.
No kidding.
The entire board has also agreed to step down to make room for a new slate of directors. By the way, quick aside, this is on the heels of Andrea Skinner, who was pushed to the front of the line, made the scapegoat. She was a lawyer. She was the interim director. She hightailed it on the weekends like, fuck, I'm out. I'm not part of this group. You guys are fucked. An interim management committee that's what started this, will be put in place, which will guide the organization until no later than a newly constituted board appoints a new CEO to lead the organization. This part's fucking hilarious. Let me just get my serious voice out for a second. You ready for this?
Yeah,
you ready, Lindz?
Yeah. I can't
recognizing the urgent need for new leadership and perspectives, the entire board of directors announced it will step aside and pursuant to Hockey Canada's bylaws. The board will ask its members to select a new slate of directors by no later than the forthcoming virtual election date scheduled for December 17th, 2022. It's coming up in a couple months. The board will not seek re-election and will fulfill its fiduciary duties until such time as a new board is elected. So no Scott Smith, CEO, is gone. Rest of the board stays until December 17th, but everybody's stepping down. Hockey Canada is seeking new board candidates to shape the future of the organization. We encourage qualified individuals to respond to the call for nominations issued by the independent nominating committee last week. The interim
Come on, Dino, get in there.
Fuck no. Interim management committee will focus on day-to-day operations and ensure the progress of implementation of Hockey Canada's action plan, including reviewing the working with the board and members towards a full implementation of the independent governance review, blah, 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 Thomas Cromwell, blah, blah, blah. Hockey Canada will continue to provide public updates on these important changes, as well as the continued work towards implementing the ongoing action plan. Your thoughts, Ryan Lindley?
Is it too late? I think it's too late. I think it's, I don't know. I liken it to, if you inherit this poor new board that's coming in, you inherit like a house from like a great aunt that you've never heard of, and you show up and it's just dilapidated. There's no windows. Raccoons are living in it. What do you fucking do with it? How do you rebuild this? I don't know if it can get rebuilt. The trust is gone. Like, how do you even with a new board, are those sponsors just going to like all of a sudden show back up at the door without some sort of sweeping ground level change in this board? Like, I just don't see how it as an entity, even with new life in it, I don't see how it can thrive, I guess. I don't see how you rebuild this.
And it's funny because I was listening to this interview today on the radio. Strangely enough, I was listening to the radio.
Ooh.
You're welcome, radio. Listening to you again.
It sweeps
generally
too.
Speaking. Yeah, well, it's
Sweeps
ratings.
time.
Yeah, ratings. We'll get into that tomorrow with Locke. But I was listening to and this brand guy, marketing guy, he's like, fucking epic collapse.
Yeah.
Epic. Because it takes forever to build a brand equity, brand trust, all that stuff. It took 4 months for them to destroy something that has been 50 years in the making.
Yeah.
4 months. To your point, do you know why they destroyed it? Greed, selfishness, reputation, ego, all the terrible things. You know, these people are no different than any other captain of industry who sits at the top of some kind of pecking order. Is they like the stuff. They like the juice that comes.
The entitlement. It's that exact same entitlement that was bred into the kids that caused the shit in the beginning. It's exactly it. You're right.
And 4 months ago, these numpties had a chance to do something about it when a gang rape that occurred in 2018 and a subsequent payoff by these numpties was uncovered in a World Junior Hockey Championship. They had a chance to be honest. They had a chance to step down. They had a chance, maybe not even step down at the time. Maybe even just a chance to tell the truth. Get on top of it. Advocate for victims. Talk to these young ladies who'd been sexually assaulted and gang raped over 40 years. But what did they do? Nothing. They tried to protect themselves individually and as a quorum. They put a woman in charge of Hockey Canada, Andrea Skinner, and fed her to the wolves. They hired Navigator and Jamie Watt, the biggest piece of shit in media. And he fucked them even harder, which is Jamie Watt's specialty, if you ask me.
I almost want to send him a fruit basket and thank him for fucking boot fucking this entire thing to the pulp that it is now.
To the point where we're at.
Yeah.
And 4 months later, so they dragged this out for 4 months, closing in on 5, actually. Drag it out. No, we won't quit. No, if we're not here to fix it, no kids will be in playing hockey. No lights on in arenas.
Lights. Yeah.
No lights. The lights won't go on if we're not here. Bullshit. Everybody, from Sobeys to Bauer to Nike to BDO Dunwoody to Tim Hortons to Scotiabank,
Canadian
everybody pulled all of their money. And they said, now what are you going to do? Because your reputation doesn't come with a paycheck because we're not giving you fuck all.
That's right.
And they're like, okay. 4 months. 4 fucking months. That's why this statement and the third paragraph, which starts with recognizing the urgent need for new leadership and perspectives, is such a pile of bullshit.
No kidding.
That I am fucking grossed out. I wrote a piece on this today. And in it, I said, I don't care who you are. I don't care what year you worked for Hockey Canada. I don't care if you were the coffee guy, the receptionist, HR, janitor, if you were an event programmer, if you're the CEO, if you're the marketing director, if you're on the board, if you're on the fucking foundation. I don't care if you're Cassie, Pascal, Campbell, Leclerc, however she says her name. I don't care. Yes. Cassie from Calgary.
Yeah, that's the one.
Cassie Campbell. That's how I knew her. Cassie Campbell, Pascal Leclerc, I think. Or Passy Campbell. I can't use a lot of words. And I mean no disrespect. Because she's like a legendary hockey player. And I actually like her behind the microphone. But if anybody knew about any of this stuff over the past 40 years, you need to be in trouble too. We need your names, and you should never, ever be around kids.
Yeah, and this is not over. This is like by far, this is not over at all. Because now this is just the organization itself. There's still those people involved, like you say. And there's going to be so much post-mortem that happens afterwards, even with a new, like, I don't know if they're going to revive this or they're going to make a new Hockey Canada. There's still this bell has not been answered. This is just starting. Like you say, it's 5 months now.
The only thing that happened is these people finally quit. Now now the rest of the shit has to happen. Now you got to get a new board and you got to vet these people and you got to go root out all the bullshit. Now you got to talk to Bob Nicholson, the guy who ran the show for fucking decades. Now you got to go talk to him. What did you know? What did you sanction? What did you sign off on? Now you got to talk to Tom Rennie. I don't give a
The
fuck.
class actions are about to start. Like it's
They
going to
should.
be. This is bad. Like this is far from over just because the board resigned. This is literally just opening of Pandora's box, and as it should be. So
I can't wait.
me too.
I
I'm here for
legitimately
it.
can't wait. Like,
Yep.
They finally did what they should have done on day one. They did it 4 months later, and the cupboards are empty now. Fuck, that's what they did. They did
Yep.
it. On
And
purpose.
it could have been salvageable. They could have done the right thing. They could have come out on top of it. They could become advocates for people that are victims of this systemic, because it's systemic.
Yep.
For decades, it's been systemic abuse that was just omission of any sort of consequence is guilt. You're guilty. You are guilty by association, and you've condoned it. And you had a chance. You had an opportunity. The minute that it came out, you knew it. You knew it wasn't just going to stop. Deep down, somebody must have thought it doesn't stop here. But did that ego, did that entitlement cloud that so bad that here we are now, 5 months later, the place is burnt to the ground, and now you're leaving?
Mm-hmm.
No shit, you're leaving. You were going to leave anyway because the locks will be changed in a month, you fucking idiots. So,
I think they got a talking to, too. My understanding is that some government officials have stepped in and said, pack your shit.
good.
Beat it. Yeah. Beat it.
I hope there wasn't any deals made. I hope there wasn't a backdoor back room. Just if you go now, we'll leave you. No, I want answers, and I want accountability for every single person that was responsible for this. I know we won't let it go.
No. Anyway, quick update. There you go. It's what everybody's been clamoring for. Now, let's advocate for victims. Let's talk about that too.
That's
right?
it.
Let's try and
That's
figure
exactly
that out.
it. Get them some justice for this.
All right. Anyway, nice quick one today. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, this was nice. It was nice to catch up. Well, almost didn't happen.
I know. We called an audible late. I wasn't going to do it. And then I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Just want to let everybody know, still at the end of the podcast, I've been doing this now for an hour and 6 minutes. Got my Bivalent booster, my COVID booster. Just want everybody to know I feel great.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah.
Check your bank account.
No Schwab dollars in there. Yeah.
Not
no
yet.
Schwab bucks. Schwab points, like
Is
shoppers
it
points.
crypto or is it cash?
I don't know.
Because you got Moderna, so Bill Gates isn't giving you anything. So.
No.
Or is he the most?
Bill's out.
Oh.
And everybody, obviously, specifically, I'm speaking to YouTube and the algorithm of YouTube. I'm telling you right now, we advocate for great healthcare. We advocate for vaccines. We advocate for the good thing. And anybody that believes Klaus Schwab is coming for your lawnmower, your motorcycle, and your gas-powered anything else, you're a fucking idiot. I was thinking that when I was getting my shot today. I'm like, this is just healthcare. How do these guys tie it to Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, the WEF, and social credit scores? Beyond me. That's why I tweeted it today. I'm like, go fuck yourselves, you guys. It's craziness.
Salad.
It's craziness. You are so crazy if you think that what I got in my arm is going to lead to social credit scores across the country. It's a fucking vaccine. It's like a shot. It's a flu shot. That's what it is.
Where it starts, Dean. This is how they start. This is how they get you, Dean. Fucking cuck.
Anyway, yeah, cuck is right.
Big carb,
Healthcare
big pharma cuck.
I'm just waiting for the Nuremberg trials, dude.
That's all.
Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Great to see you too. Lindz Report, Ryan Lindley. He's the guy that does that. Make sure you download
It went out this week.
The Lindz Report. Yeah, it's good. When is it coming out?
It's already out. It came out. I put it out for Thanksgiving yesterday. And there's lots of.
Oh, that's what I retweeted. I haven't listened to the latest one. Oh, it was the one where you were pretending to be a Russian guy. That's the one. Fuck that clip.
No, that's not me pretending. It was a sponsor. I got sponsored by the city of Moscow, and the commercial is in the Lindz Report. You can hear it when you go download it today. It's really good.
Lindz Report it is. Sub and download to the Lindz Report. Sub and download to Talking Buds, the podcast. Go Leafs, go, I guess. I mean, I don't care how the season ends up. I'm just excited to watch it all fucking shake down.
This is the year, guys.
That's right.
This is the year.
No, it's not. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Lindz, great to see you. We'll talk to you soon. Ryan Lindley from the Lindz Report. Have a great day to you, everybody. I got an appointment. I got to go. We will see you here tomorrow. Alex Day-Rebekov, our war correspondent live in Ukraine, is going to join us. We're going to go a little early tomorrow, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Reason why we're doing that. Interesting, you ask. Why are you starting an hour early? And we're starting on time. because Alex has to turn all of the lights off. The city of Kyiv and the entire country of Ukraine is under specific war instructions like they were during the Blitz in London, England in 1943 to turn off all your lights, street lights, house lights, board up the windows. Do you know why? I do. It's because Vladimir Putin's a cock. And he's bombing the shit out of a country because he's a terrorist prick who needs to be taken out of circulation. So Alex is going to fill us in tomorrow. We'll go over the terrible day that the Ukraine had just a couple days ago, and we'll talk about Courage Bridge. We'll talk about the courage of the Ukrainian people. Robbie Furnish is going to stop by. We'll do a little Leafs, a little Oilers. We'll talk a lot about that. We'll get into the Hockey Canada shit again tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about Akeem Alou, who I happen to think is a hero in the Hockey Diversity Alliance. Hopefully we can get him on in the next couple days as well. However, that's tomorrow, 2 o'clock. We'll be here. Have a great day, everybody. Really appreciate you spending some time with us. And thank you to our friends at kivlaw.ca, Kivlaw Defense Lawyers. Looking for a great lawyer? Are you in trouble? Did you do something you didn't want to do? Did you do something you didn't do? You just want to get out right today? Rob Kivlakin is your guy. Robert at Kivlaw, Kivlaw, Southern Ontario. Robert at kivlaw.ca. Send him an email. He'll connect with you immediately because it's what he does. Protects people from abusive court systems, helps them get through their legal issues. He's a defense attorney, and his team are the best in the business, and I trust him implicitly, so make sure you use his service. Kivlaw.ca or Robert at Kivlaw.ca. Send him an email today. Ed at Ed's Fine Imports. We wear your gitch. You can do the same thing. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front. I'm wearing the red pair now. That's right, red. Feeling saucy today. Might wear the orange ones tomorrow. Might just wear orange all the way till Halloween because I feel festive in these things. Big pouch in the front, made for Canadian men, if you know what I'm saying. And you can get a free pair right now and use promo code GITCH3. Go to edsfineimports.com, order online. Boom. That's your underwear. You know how Terrell Owens years ago said, Tony Romo, that's my quarterback. That's how I feel about these. That's my underwear. Gitch. Gitch3 is your promo code. Order them online at edsfineimports.com. And, of course, Easy Auto Financial for people that are looking for a vehicle. These guys get you financing 100% of the time, and you do not have to pay for it. Great rates, great people, and all kinds of solutions for those of you that just fucking hate buying cars. Everyone does. It's a pain in the ass. The haggling, the this, the that, the financing, the paperwork, the insurance. These guys do everything. That's why it's called easyautofinancial.ca. No obligation. Check them out today. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock with Alex and our friend Rob from Talking Buds. Locke will be back. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.